So I know I've called this series 1 month to zero waste, and I also know it's March, but February is short, so I'm grandfathering this weekend. I've talked a lot about different swaps the last couple weeks, different alternatives, different DIYs, different things that we can do in our own homes to make greener decisions. But now I want to pivot to talking about bigger changes, corporation level changes, changes that maybe we can't do directly ourselves, but definitely ones that we can influence those higher up to do. If you're into sustainability and making the world just a little bit better, I like to make videos about different lifestyle swaps, changes you can make, a couple of DIYs, but I also like talking about the human side of both climate change and the environmental sustainability realm. What social, racial, class-based, gendered implications are intertwined with both of these domains. If that sounds interesting to you, please hit the like button and subscribe for more. So we can reduce our waste, we can thrift, we can do everything we can to reduce our own personal carbon footprint. But none of this really changes the fact that only 100 corporations cause over 70% of our world's carbon emissions. Plus, the top 15 drug and food companies in the US alone generate nearly 630 million metric tons of greenhouse gas every year. And just to put that in perspective, that makes this group of 15 businesses a bigger contributor than Australia. Procter & Gamble, for example, is a company that I talked about in my EC30 cleaning product review, and P&G. In a 2019 sort of deep dive, it was found that P&G's use of virgin wood pulp to create all of their hygiene products, baby products, tissues, all the stuff that they create. It was such high volume, so much new resources, so much work went into it that they were emitting 17.8 million metric tons of CO2 per year. Again, to put it in perspective, that's about the same amount as all of the passenger vehicles on Earth create in a year. Now, P&G has said that they want to cut their emissions by 50%, which sounds great. But upon further review, try and think of how to describe this. So we got this pie of P&G's emissions. When they say 50%, I think, wow, 50% of the whole pie. But they're not talking about the whole pie. They're looking at this one little sliver of the pie and saying, yeah, look at all these emissions we're making here. We're gonna cut that in half. Without taking the rest of, I don't know why I went with pie, the pie into consideration. They're just talking about that one teeny tiny sliver, which when you actually factor in all of their emissions is only about 1%, not 50%. It's disheartening. This is not to say that choosing greener options in our day-to-day lives is not important. I really do believe that it is. I believe that when I put my money towards a more ethical, sustainable alternative, that I am voting with my dollar, that I am supporting these businesses that I believe in, whose practices align with my beliefs. I think that's all great, and I don't think we should sacrifice that because it seems insignificant compared to these large corporations. I really do believe that it's important, but we also can't deny the numbers. I say, if there's a company you enjoy shopping at or want to do business with, but you know that their practices are not totally in line with what you believe to be an ethical, sustainable corporation, then write to them. That's you can do that. Let them know. It's as easy as that. Maybe you want them to improve their packaging materials or shipping materials, the actual product materials, how they source their products, where they source their products, how they treat their workers, how transparent they are when it comes to their greenhouse emission goals. They might not listen, but they also might listen. And I can put some sample emails just to give you a glimmer of an idea of what you can write in the description box. But if you do, when you do write to companies, make sure that you change the wording. These are just ideas, but don't just copy and paste, because it's really easy for corporations, companies to filter out specific wording. And if they get too many of one kind of wording, then they can just filter it out, delete them, never read them. And we don't want that. But really, it is that easy to hold them accountable, and you don't have to talk to anybody on the phone, because who likes doing that nowadays? And if enough of us keep badgering them, then they'll be much more likely to listen. So go on their website or wherever you can find contact information. I recommend finding somebody who's in charge of sustainability, or even just like a product line manager, operator, whatever they're called. Find a specific department or person to talk to. Yes, there's customer service emails, but that's less direct, and that's really easy for them to just not pay attention to. So tell them why you love their products or are really interested in their products, and then say what you want to address, if it's the shipping materials or the carbon emission goals or the workers' wages, whatever. Let them know what you want to talk about, and tell them directly what you want to see. And if you have to throw a little ultimatum in there, you can always say like, oh, if you don't do XYZ, not gonna shop there, gonna tell my friends not to shop there. Just an idea, take it or leave it. Let me know if you do this and if it's worked for you. I've definitely done it with a few places and gotten some feedback. We'll see what's implemented, but if enough of us do it, who's to say things won't change? The next video I am making for later this week is all about how to greenify your Amazon purchases, and Amazon is no different, right to them too. We all know, or at least I'm not shy about the fact that I'm not a big Amazon fan, but I also know that a lot of people use Amazon, obviously, and many people don't have any other options to buy some products other than Amazon. So I've come up with some ways, researched some ways that you can cut down on unnecessary packaging and plastic and truck trips, what have you. So that'll be my next one. Stay tuned for that. Hit the thumbs up if you haven't yet, and subscribe if you want more, and I'll see you next time. Bye.